Hello, fellow traders. TheRumpledOne coming to you on Wednesday, May the 15th. The year's 2024. Let's talk trading. Distraction with Walmal. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine and differ from Walmal's. So, Walmal, why are we talking about distraction?
Because I was distracted.
Now, Walmal, you're a veteran trader. What caused you to get distracted?
The news that looking to see if there was going to be any more news today and tomorrow and Friday, and that the reality is that I should have. Oh, it doesn't. I knew there was no more news for today, so there was nothing. Yeah, I knew there was nothing that was going to affect me whatsoever. So I should have held off on doing that until my trading day was over, and I didn't. And and what happened is that I didn't get into trouble, but rather missed an opportunity and missed a really good opportunity, and could have picked up, I believe, 7 or 8 pips minimum off of the trade. And, basically, money that would have been easy money, so to speak. And when I say easy money, because it met every one of my criteria for taking a trade, and then of course it actually worked out. So you want to kick yourself in your, kick yourself in your rear end for missing that opportunity. And that's just the way it is sometimes. But and it was not a planned. There are times when you need to be distracted. Now, let me go into explain that before I get some hate comments on this. What I mean by that is there are times when you need distractions from the basically the idea that you can't just be totally committed, 100% focused all of the time, because what tends to happen to us as humans is we get tunnel vision, and the only thing we see is down that tunnel, and we can't see the things to the left of us, and we can't see the things to the right of us, and and coming from different angles, because we're just tunneled in and so focused in on a particular thing. And so distraction, what that does do for us, good distraction, what that does for us is it breaks up that focus a little bit and allows us to take a break, let your brain relax a little bit. Sort of like, if you're in the gym and you're lifting weights and you're constantly doing curls, well, eventually what's going to happen is if you're just doing curls, I don't care how much weight, you can be lifting literally a half pound. If you're constantly doing it, eventually your arm's going to go and fail and, and not going to be able to do it anymore, and potentially even getting hurt. Whereas if you go and do it in terms of doing sets, you do 10 repetitions, and then you take a break for 20 seconds or so, allow your muscles to recover, and then you do another set of 10 or 12, whatever your regimen happens to be. Well, your brain was a muscle too, and it works the same way. And the idea is, okay, let your brain go full force, going out there, doing what it's got to go and do, firing on all pistons. Okay, take a break. And then go back and do it again, But the problem is that what can happen is that distractions wind up taking up more time than actual trading. And that's when you get into trouble, because then you either, there are a couple of things that can go wrong. One, you can do what I did this morning, where I missed an opportunity, a clear opportunity. It was very, very obvious. I just, I just started taking too many breaks, too many distractions, following too many things on the side, and not paying attention to what was going on the charts, and I missed opportunity. I had made core and everything, but shoot, I could have easily added more to it. The second thing that can happen is, and I think this is the really dangerous thing about distractions, is that you get distracted about something, and you glance over to your chart, and you say, oh crap, look at that, I should have been there. And then you do something that, that you really shouldn't, and that is you just immediately react and do. And the next thing you know, you've taken a trade that maybe you shouldn't have taken, because You didn't have, because you weren't fully concentrated, you didn't go and look at all the things that you're supposed to be looking at. What I mean by that is, let's say you've got a methodology that says, you need three things to be satisfied. And you see the one big thing that has to be satisfied, the trigger. That evil word, the trigger, the thing that actually gets you into the trade. But you didn't see two other things that need to be satisfied for that trigger to be valid. You can have a trigger and it not be a valid trigger because there are other things that are out there that would negate the entire idea of taking a trade. And that's where that's where you get into trouble. And I'm going to be honest with everybody, that's where I get into trouble because I've admitted here before that I have tendencies of being ADD, attention deficit disorder, and I can easily get distracted. And then the next thing what happens is, you go and see that thing in the corner of your eye, and next thing you know, you're hitting the buy button or the sell button, and you had no business hitting the buy or sell button. You just saw the market movement, or you saw that flip-flop box, but you didn't take into account what the hour's done, what the 30 minutes done. You haven't taken into account, is there what I like to go and say, a wall that's sitting there that you're going to run into. Haven't taken into account all the other things that you need to take into account. That's my thing about distraction. What say you, sir?
Well, the thing about distractions is usually if you have more than one tab or screen going, if they're not all about trading, you might have something, you might have your email screen up, or you might have like you said, a news screen or something, a Facebook or whatever. If you've got all those things going, then you're not fully focused. When you're trading, I mean, it should be almost like life or death. You should be totally focused in the moment. And then when you're not totally focused, as you say, you take a break, walk away, get your coffee or drink or whatever, something to eat. But when you're engaged in trading, you really should be fully focused on that screen. And the thing is, it's not just the look thing. Even in your mind, you got to turn off all the internal chatter about, oh, what am I going to eat for lunch? Or I got to do this, I got to do that. Because those are distractions too. Those are internal distractions, which sometimes can be, even more detrimental than external distractions.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. The internal things can really get you. It's sort of like, I had a friend of mine, and I've talked about this fellow before on these videos, and, he was a professional trader down in the pit, and he used to say that, oh, you had somebody that was in your immediate family who's passed away. Okay, you get a week off, and then you're not trading for another week or 2 weeks after that. You can't come back into the pit.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to go to the company psychologist, work through some of the things that you need to work through.
Mm-hmm.
And because they knew that those things were going to affect you. We may not like to go, no, I'm a big, strong man. I'm a big, strong woman. I can go and do whatever I need to go and do, because remember back from the 70s, I am woman, Well, guess what? This market's filled with big, strong women and big, strong men who are looking to take your money from you.
Hey, well, hey, remember, there's some non-binary traders out there too.
But in any case, it's the type of thing where you gotta be careful, and you need to be. This is war. I mean, literally, this is war. This is not some little game that we're playing like tic-tac-toe. There may be some strategy here, but that's about where the game part of it ends, because the other part of it is you need to be performing at the top of your game at all times. And that means that distractions have got to go and take us, aside. They got to go and take it to the side. They can't be there.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I guess some people say don't look at your P&L because that's a distraction. So you know, I guess there's a reality check there because that's what you know, you like to look at the dollars.
Right. And see, that's the thing. You got to go and figure out. You know, I say all the time. You got to figure out what works for you, as opposed
Exactly.
to what works for TRO or for me. And the reason why is because, you know, for me, looking at that P&L for the day, you know, or for the trade, depending on where I'm at, or even for the week, the reality is that's what keeps me focused. You know, I know that about myself. That may not work for other people. In fact, I know it doesn't work for other people. You know, some people think, "Oh crap, I'm down, you know, $10 a week. I got to make up that $10." And next thing you know, they're going and forcing themselves into trades that they shouldn't force themselves into. You know, they're going and, you know, oh crap, I've lost 3 times in a row now. I can't afford to lose another time. And you're in a trade and it's actually underwater, but you know, you're still within your limits. And what do? It's not looking good for me. I'm getting out of this trade. No, you know what happens the moment you get out of that trade? That's the trade that goes and, you know, goes and gives you a winner, but usually not even just a winner, but a nice big winner. And it would have more than made up for the 3 losses. And that's, you know, and that you gotta go and, you know, you gotta figure out what works for you. For me, keeping track of the P&L, well, the reality is what it does is it causes me, I see it as real dollars. And, you know, I had the habit, you know, of sticking in trades too long. When they go against me, sticking to the trade too long because I don't like to lose. I'm very competitive. So until literally the fat lady sings, you know, I'm not going to get out. And the problem is that what can also happen is in that situation is because we have the ability to move stop losses and the ability to move TPs and everything else, we can go and say, well, you know what, where we should have gotten out at 20. Well, guess what? We didn't get out at 20 because I moved my stop loss, and I can do things like that. And I fell victim to doing that. Being perfectly honest with you, and that's, you know, that's what used to get me into trouble. And so what do? I go and say, okay, this looking at the pips, that's for the birds. Looking at it that way, I got to look at something that's real, you know. And I'll give you a little trick. I know I only have about a minute or so left, but a little trick that I did in the very beginning, okay, when I was trading like a micro account, just learning how to do things, I literally had on my desk a bunch of coins, and as it went down, okay, I would move the coins from the center to either to the left as I was losing money, I'd move it to the left, and if I was making money, I'd move to the right, and I could visually see it, and it just made an impact on me of actual seeing real money in front of me on my desk, moving from one side of the column to the other side of the column, and by doing that, it made it very, very clear that this is not just pips, not just points. This is money. This is real money. And that, because of my personality, that's what I had to do. Do I recommend doing that for other people? I don't know. I'll recommend that maybe you try something like that, or try something similar to that would work for you. And you got to figure out what's going to work for you.
Yeah, that's the big one. What works for you? And you know, you mentioned about that distraction about, you know, trades gone by. That's history. You can't change that. You can learn from it, but you can't change it. And it kind of gets into managing emotions versus managing the trade, what's on the chart. And, you know, the fastest 15 minutes in trading is just about over. And fellow traders, I probably won't be putting out another video till sometime next week because I have to go back to the East Coast. I got a big union convention. So, and I don't think I'm going to be taking my computer because this thing's it's like 3,000 people. It's basically, to me, it's probably just going to be one big boondoggle. So, I guess that'll give you time to catch up on some of my older videos that you haven't watched. So, just remember, when you sit down to trade, it's not what you trade, It's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumpled One, over and out.